How are you guys doing? Today is Sunday, July 4th, 2021. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, now that the quarterfinal rounds of Euro 2020, the tournament has been completed, I am going to use this episode to preview the two Euro 2020 semifinal matches and, of course, give a little bit of context as to how all four of these teams got here, what they're playing for, and what this round looks like going forward. All four of these games were played yesterday, Saturday, July 3rd, and, of course, the day before that on Friday, July 2nd, and just previewing the very first matchup, which is going to take place on July 6th. Italy is going to face off against Spain in Wembley in London. First, looking at how Italy got here. Italy would make it here after finishing at the very top of their group, which was Group A. They would first come in and they would beat Turkey 3-0. They beat Switzerland 3-0, and then they beat Wales to make it to the knockout round. They beat Austria 2-1 in the very first round. And they were able to beat Belgium 2-1 in the quarterfinals to, of course, make their way up into this round where they can face off against Spain. And then, of course, looking at how Spain was able to make it here, Spain would make it here after finishing They would finish second in Group E behind Sweden after they did not lose a game, but they ended up drawing a couple of their games. They would draw against Sweden, and then they would draw against Poland before eventually beating Slovakia. And then they would end up beating Croatia 5-3 in the round of 16. They drew versus Switzerland, and they were able to beat Switzerland off of penalty kicks on Friday, just to give a little bit of how Spain gets here. The Spain versus Italy matchup will be played on the 6th, and that will be a very big matchup to determine who's going to make it to the next round, where they could very well face off against the home team, as England's going to face off against Denmark on Wednesday, July 7th. England would, of course, make it here after finishing incredibly well in their group. England would finish at the top of Group D after winning 2 games and drawing 1 in their table. They would beat Croatia in the first game, draw versus Scotland in the second game, and then they would beat the Czech Republic 1-0 in the third game to make it through. They would beat Germany 2-0 in the round of 16 to advance to the quarterfinals, and then they would end up beating Ukraine 4-0, 2 of those goals coming from their elite striker Harry Kane, which of course landed them to where they would face off against Denmark. Denmark had a very interesting road here after they almost lost their captain Christian Eriksen. Denmark would end up finishing second in Group B behind Belgium, even though they finished with only 3 points in the table. They only won 1 game total, but I guess by goal differentials they were able to make it in. They lost to Finland in the first game. They lost to Finland 1-0 in the first game. They lost to Belgium 2-1 in the second game. They ended up beating Russia 4-1 in the third game, which was just enough to get them in. In the round of 16, they would end up beating Wales 4-0. In the quarterfinals, they would end up beating the Czech Republic 2-1. So right now they are going to face off against England in Wembley, which will be a very tough matchup. But considering they've been able to beat their opponents right ahead of them, I do not have any doubt that Denmark is definitely the team to pull it off. So right now, that is what the Euros are looking like as of today, Sunday, July 4th, 2021. And I want to thank everyone for listening to this piece. Once both these matchups are done, I will come back with a preview for the Euro 2020 final. And until then, I want to thank everyone once again for listening to this piece. Once again, today is Sunday, July 4th, 2021, out here in this quarantine. I'm James Sims. Thank you for listening to my piece. This is The Elite. I hope all is well, and I'll catch you tomorrow with another episode. Until then, stay elite and peace out. I'll catch you tomorrow.